upset with the results of the election from November. It is time to end this madness, Mr. Speaker. Let's get this government back open. Let's go negotiate our differences, which are many. But let's do it while not continuing to hold the American people hostage. I urge my Democrat colleagues who have voted relentlessly to shut this government down and impose this suffering on the American people to stop. Stop imposing the suffering. Let's open the government. Let's get back to the work of the American people. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman from Louisiana yields back. Does the gentleman from Oklahoma reserve? Connecticut is recognized.
I remind the majority
It looked like
that a 6-year-old
nobody's
couple
there.
earned $82,800 per year. Annual premiums will rise by over $17,000.
It's gonna be pretty crazy if this doesn't get through.
A 255% increase. It now gives me great pleasure to yield 3 minutes to the gentleman from Georgia, the distinguished ranking member of the
Yeah, we'll watch this for a little bit, guys, and then
Mr. Bishop.
we'll focus on AUD inflation.
For 3 minutes.
What's up, Collage? What's up, Michael? Patrick.
Ranking member of the Agriculture, Rural
What's up,
Development,
guys?
and FDA Subcommittee, I rise to oppose this bill. Though it does represent, for the most part, solid bipartisan work to provide investments in agriculture in rural America, I am disappointed that the rest of it falls far short of the needs of most Americans. Healthcare providers and patients are frustrated and frightened by the imminent skyrocketing of healthcare costs caused by the loss of the ACA tax credits and cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, and life-saving biomedical research. My constituent, Angela Holmes, is unable to walk without debilitating pain. She's worried that without tax credits, she won't be able to afford health insurance to complete the multiple back surgeries she needs. For many Georgians, health care is a matter of life and death. Our Republican colleagues could have corrected this in the Rules Committee, but they rejected an amendment last night that would have lowered health premium costs. To me, that's unconscionable. So are the administration's actions during the shutdown. As a Christian, I'm outraged that USDA used the shutdown to illegally withhold SNAP from 42 million Americans. USDA had the chance to do the right thing and use designated contingency funds, but rejected it. And when ordered to do so by the courts, they fought all the way to the Supreme Court to keep hungry families from receiving food. America produces the highest quality, safest, most abundant, most affordable, and abundant food, fiber, and medicine anywhere in the world. To that end, this bill provides many welcome
Anybody know what the vote is so far? It seemed like barely people was there, but yeah, this is definitely going to be the focus.
For women and children. It also helps rural America by providing $1 billion in single family direct home loans, $120 million over the House level, and funding water and wastewater programs at $446 million, both issues that Democrats tried to address in full committee. The bill provides $1.8 billion for the Agricultural Research Service, $1.6 billion for NIFA, protecting farmers, small businesses, and families against President Trump's budget request to eliminate land-grant university research and extension activities across the country. I'm pleased to see that the bill language requires USDA to notify Congress before canceling grants over $1 million. The agricultural portion of this bill does make positive steps in the right direction. The bill discards many of the harmful policy riders, which in the House bill, yet it does not go far enough to negate House language falsely questioning the safety of mifepristone and encouraging FDA to explore liability protections for certain infant formula manufacturers, over which the agency has absolutely no jurisdiction. And while the overall funding package may reopen the government for a month or two, this bill does not address the breach of trust this administration has demonstrated since January. It failed to follow the law, and we cannot trust that they will even execute this bill if we vote on it today.
The gentleman's time has expired.
15 seconds.
The gentleman is recognized for an additional 15 seconds.
They failed to follow the law, and we can't trust that they'll execute the law. They cut SNAP by 20% in the big ugly bill this summer, dismounted funded federal programs, fired federal workers, and illegally ignored court orders. This bill fails to address the health care crisis.
Yeah, they're just going to yap for a while. You know, like every single member is just going to say pretty much the same shit over and over and over.
The gentleman's time has expired.
January 6th investigation. It's a bad bill. oppose it.
Gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman yields back. Does the gentlelady from Connecticut reserve? Does the gentlelady reserve?
Yeah, we just give it,
From Oklahoma is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I recognize yield 2 minutes to my very good friend, distinguished gentleman from Texas, and distinguished chairman of the Military Construction and Veterans Subcommittee, the appropriate.
All right, yeah, we'll just give it like another 15 minutes, and then we're going to focus on AUD labor data.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and
So yeah, just give it like another 15 minutes of this, see how this goes, and then we give it. We focus on AUD labor data. This could last like 3-4 hours, guys.
I rise in support of
Anybody took any trades though so far for the week?
I look forward to reopening the government.
Like the gold buys was
Shutdown has
amazing.
gone on
Like
long
good job
enough.
for you guys that took advantage of
It's time
it.
to end it. Yesterday was Veterans Day, and it's a timely reminder of.
Yeah, like equities already started pushing lower. I just personally think it's just more of a little recovery. We ain't going to get much yet. It's a possibility that they might pass it today. Supposedly they are. But let's see what happens, guys.
Component of the legislation meets that goal. The legislation includes $133.3 billion for the Department of Veterans Affairs, including $113.8 billion for the discretionary funding.
He sound like he got a cough. Shit.
For the VA medical care. It includes critical funding for Medicare, medical health services,
smoker's voice, yeah.
telehealth
Like this-
services,
Jesus.
veterans homelessness programs, medical research programs, and rural health initiatives. It invests in information technology, including robust investments in VA electronic health record modernization. Fully funds all mandatory veterans benefits, including veterans disability compensation programs, education benefits, and vocational rehabilitation and employment training. Nearly $20 billion.
Yeah, that's
for
the problem
Department
with
of
the.
Defense military construction.
That's the problem with
programs. This amount funds
all the people
nearly
that's in Congress,
300
man. They like
projects at military
70 and
bases
above.
around
Yield
the
the
world.
gentleman an additional 15 seconds, Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman has an additional 15 seconds.
Yeah,
It
they're
includes
like
$3 billion for
like
to
all
improve,
over
maintain
70,
housing
dude.
for service members, provides requested resources for the American Battle Monuments, Armed Forces Retirement Home, and operations of Arlington Cemetery. I want to thank Mr. Cole for his endless work to get us to this point, and I urge my colleagues to join me in supporting the bill, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. Does the gentleman from Oklahoma reserve? The gentleman reserves. The gentlelady from Connecticut is recognized.
Speaker, I yield 3 minutes to the gentlewoman from Florida, the distinguished ranking member of the Military Construction and Veterans Affairs Subcommittee, Ms. Wasserman Schultz.
The gentlelady from Florida is recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the gentlewoman for yielding. I rise to oppose this slush fund for senators' bill that will force health care
I'll be right back,
costs to
guys. But
explode
yeah,
for
give it
those
like
with
another
earnings. In fact,
10 minutes of this, and then we're going to focus on
legislation
AUD
guarantees
data.
only two things.
So far, gold
Republican
is breaking
senators
below
suspected
support.
of helping Trump
Equities
try to
did
steal an
push
election
lower.
will get a
We ain't
whole
getting
lot
nothing
richer,
yet. They're just
and
giving
life
out
will
their
get more
statements. But
expensive
most
for everyone
likely,
else.
supposedly,
That's
higher
because this bill
probability
adds
the bill's going to
rocket
pass
fuel to
anyway.
Republicans'
And
larger
then it's going to
assault
go
on
to
Americans' access
Trump
to quality,
afterwards,
affordable health
but
care.
obviously
Remember, Mr.
anything
Speaker,
could happen.
Republicans
So
already slashed $1 trillion
yeah,
from
let's just
Medicaid,
monitor it,
$500 billion
and then let's see
from
what
Medicare,
happens,
and let
guys.
Trump steal billions
But
in
worst
medical
case
research.
scenario,
But with this bill, Republicans dump
if they don't
massive healthcare
pass it,
price hikes
right,
on
it's just
struggling
going to cause more
Americans.
uncertainty.
Millions will be
pretty
priced out
much.
of any coverage at all.
Right,
which will
equity.
drive
I would
coverage costs
assume
up
equities will
and
push
help serve-
lower. I would assume gold should push higher from this, but we'll see. If it actually goes through, it's already
Slush fund
expected. I don't
lottery
expect
win
markets
for
to really
8
care as
Republican
much.
senators.
Equities already
Because
pushed
the one
higher
thing
for the
that we
day.
can all agree on, unless you're Jeffrey Epstein's best friend in the White House, is that the cost of living is out of control. Rent, home insurance, and electric bills are all soaring. The cost of beef, coffee, and vegetables just keep climbing. People are really struggling to get by. Yet Donald Trump continues to block SNAP benefits to 42 million struggling seniors, patients, and veterans. How anyone could swipe food from the plates of nearly 20 million children like that is simply disgusting, but that same moral bankruptcy is embedded in this bill. This bill unleashes huge health insurance hikes on 203,000 people in my district alone, and 82,000 people will lose coverage altogether due to the impact of the big ugly law and soaring ACA prices. Worse, this bill also reneges on our commitment to veterans. As the ranking member of the Military Construction and Veterans Affairs Appropriations Subcommittee, I take our promises to veterans personally and seriously. Just this summer, I secured bipartisan support for my amendment to restore $51.7 billion in advanced funding for the Toxic Exposures Fund. This is funding, mind you, that President Trump sought in his budget. Yet as Republicans slipped a slush fund for senators into this bill, they gutted a critical funding protection for veterans. Just so we're all clear, average Americans will see their kitchen table budget blow up from the health coverage price hikes, and veterans will see their future health care funding for toxic exposures put in jeopardy. Also, billionaires can keep getting huge tax breaks. It's hard to pick between the worst moral outrages behind this bill. Was it covering up for Epstein's best friend for nearly 2 months, just so Republicans could vacation and avoid negotiating a better health care plan for our struggling families? Or is it the slush fund that personally enriches Republican senators and will haunt everyone who votes for this bill? Well, House Democrats will oppose this partisan spending bill that guts America's health care, and we'll keep fighting to extend health care tax credits. Donald Trump and Republicans broke their promise to lower costs, and this bill certainly cements that betrayal. But Democrats will stand by our promise to lower costs, and we'll make sure every American knows Republicans are responsible for this devastating health care crisis. I yield back.
The gentlelady yields back. The gentlelady from Connecticut reserves. The gentleman from Oklahoma is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 2 minutes to my very good friend, distinguished chairman of the Agriculture Subcommittee of the Committee on Appropriation, Dr. Harris of Maryland.
The gentleman from Maryland is recognized for 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today in support of Senate amendment to H.R. 5371, which will finally put an end to the Democrat-led government shutdown. Millions of Americans have suffered because they refuse to reopen the government, harming those who depend on SNAP benefits, federal workers, Border Patrol agents, and our troops who are uncertain about their next paycheck. This legislation extends government funding to the end of January 2026, thereby blocking attempts to force a budget-busting omnibus at the last minute before Christmas. It also includes the FY 2026 Agriculture, Rural Development, and Food and Drug Administration Appropriations Act. Republicans have effectively locked in disciplined, flat spending levels while supporting the Trump administration's policy priorities. The agriculture bill provides $26.65 billion in discretionary spending, which is level with the current amounts, while also including community project funding. This bill provides critical funding support to America's farmers, ranchers, and rural communities. It ensures both USDA and FDA can safeguard our nation's food and drug supply, and fully funds nutrition programs, including SNAP and WIC. Additionally, the bill closes the hemp loophole that has resulted in the spread of unregulated, intoxicating hemp-derived products that are being sold online and in gas stations and corner stores across the country. Many of these products are accessible and attractive to children, resulting in thousands of calls to U.S. poison control centers, with more than 30% involving children aged 5 years and younger. This provision is supported by 39 states' attorney general and over 81 national and state public health, medical, law enforcement, and other organizations. It's beyond disappointing that our colleagues on the other side of the aisle will soon be voting to continue the chaos and uncertainty of a government shutdown. But this is what responsible Republican government looks like. We stared down the radical Democrats' outrageous budget-busting demands and held the line for hardworking American taxpayers. I want to thank Appropriations Chairman Cole for his leadership, strongly encourage my colleagues to support this legislation. Mr. Chair, I yield back time.
The gentleman from Maryland yields back. Does the gentleman from Oklahoma reserve? The gentleman reserves. The gentlelady from Connecticut is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 3 minutes to the gentleman from New York, the distinguished ranking member of the Legislative Branch Subcommittee, Mr. Espaillat.
The gentleman from New York is recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in strong opposition to the Senate's amendment to H.R. 5371, because once again, the Senate has put other interests ahead of those of the American people. Today's backroom deal does nothing to stop 20 million Americans that will see their health care premiums double or triple. And it does absolutely nothing to stop provisions in the reconciliation package that will strip 50 million people of the Medicaid coverage. These cuts will have a resounding impact for individuals and the healthcare industry and economy as a whole. Safety net hospitals like Montefiore in my district and federally funded clinics like Borinque in East Harlem face having to eliminate services or completely close. Families, seniors, and children who go to these clinics and hospitals cannot afford to lose health care coverage. On top of that, Mr. Speaker, the legislative branch bill, which was done unilaterally, not with the consultation of both sides, it was done on its own, in the Senate, in the dark, in cahoots with a bunch of people, includes a provision that will line the pockets of 8 senators that we know of by allowing them to sue the government for millions of dollars if the Department of Justice subpoenas their phone records or seeks a lawful non-disclosure order. While families in my district are stretching every single dollar just to pay for food and rent, senators want a personal payout if law enforcement dares to hold them accountable. At every turn of this shutdown and fight for health care access, Republicans and the Trump administration have tried to inflict suffering as much as possible. For weeks, the administration held food stamps hostage. And even when some states comply with a court ruling to release full benefits, the president demanded that they be clawed back. Even when governors stepped up and said, we don't want people to go hungry, they ran to court, Mr. Speaker, to take $6.20 away from poor people. Who does that? Explain that to me. Who takes $6.20 away from a single mom or a hungry senior? That's the state of America today. Unbelievable. And here we are to vote on this. I will be casting my vote as a no. In fact, it will be a hell no tonight.
The gentleman from New York yields back. The gentlelady from Connecticut reserves. The gentleman from Oklahoma is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 2 minutes to my very good friend, the distinguished gentlelady from Michigan and chairman of the House Republican Conference, Mr. Plain.
The gentlelady from Michigan is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Speaker. And God, I love the compassion and the passion on the other side of the aisle. You know, we're worried about taking money out of families. Well, you know what? Y'all can do the right thing and vote yes. If not, you're the ones that are taking money from needy families, not us, because yes means yes, we want to feed the families. We want to have SNAP programs. No means we don't fund those programs. See how simple that is? But keep on with the rhetoric. I mean, it's cute, but the American people don't buy it. So, I mean, listen, for the past 40 days, Democrats have inflicted needless pain on hardworking Americans. They stranded millions of travelers. They denied food assistance for hungry families. And how did they do that? When you vote no to continue funding, that means you deny food stamps for hungry families. No means no, you don't want to pay them. Yes, like the Republicans vote, that means yes, we do want to pay them. So,
all right, enough of this.
You know, they left our troops wondering when they'd get their next paycheck. And for what, Mr. Speaker?
Yeah, that's how it used to be when I worked at City Hall. It was just, they pretty much all just saying the same shit, one after another. And you're just there listening for like hours of them just repeating the same stuff over and over and over, and then really just get to nothing. Yeah, it's kind of draining. But let's focus on this AUD data that we got coming up in 20 minutes. So for you guys that focus on Australia, let's put this here. All right, guys. So when it comes down to AUD, last print that we had for CPI did come out way higher than expected. Okay. So this is one of the reasons that helped AUD gain strength, right? So now moving forward, right, when it comes to this print, usually a higher print goes along with what's going on so far for Australia. So if we get stronger labor data, that's just going to increase the strength on the AUD pair currencies, right? But the next step for the Reserve Bank of Australia is not likely to hike rates, right? So the better opportunity is to actually start seeing a shift when it comes to lower inflation, weaker growth, weaker labor, because now it just increased the odds for them to want to cut rates, which is the path where they're most likely going to go. But for this print is most likely going to be a really good opportunity. No matter what we get, we should get a really good reaction if we get higher labor data, or we should get a good reaction even when we get lower labor data. Okay, so that's what we're going to really focus on for this print today. This is what I've been looking for overall. So looking at unemployment, the high so far is at a 4.4. So they're expecting it to come out. They're expecting higher unemployment, which is bad overall. This print so far, they're looking at expectations so far for this print is weaker labor. So if we get higher labor data, that would be a shock to the markets. So what we need to see for unemployment is to get above, most likely above a 4.5 would be good. If we get a 4.5 or 4.6, that would be negative. I think that would be a really good opportunity for a weaker AUD currency. Plus, we want to see employment below 10,000, right? 10. You're going to say if we get a 9, that would be a great opportunity to short Australia altogether, the AUD currency. If we see that labor data comes out at a 4.3 or 4.2, that would signal a strong unemployment print. And then we need to see employment come at least at a 2.5, a 25 or higher. Okay. That would lead to AUD strength overall. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. It's very simple. I think we'll be able to capitalize on either print if labor is higher or lower. So that's what we'll look at. What's your bias on gold? Well, it was buys. The government, I don't think it's going to matter. The shutdown, I don't think it's going to matter as much. Like if they do end the shutdown, that could cause gold to push a little bit lower, right? Because of optimism. But it's politics, man. So the markets really don't care about politics. They know that the shutdown is going to end eventually. If this lasted like another week or two, then it's impacting GDP. That's when the markets care. But this is just politics. They know that they're going to have to open up anyway. So this is one of the reasons why, markets not really caring as much, haven't really cared as much with these prints. So far we got some good consolidation with these pairs. AUD-JPY. I think AUD-JPY could be a really good neutral pair for this event. So if you want to just trade both directions, AUD-JPY could be a really good one. We talked about AUDUSD. I like the idea of a weaker dollar. So I just don't think we're going to get a weaker dollar soon. But from a macro perspective, I do like weaker dollar because the Feds, they're already talking about rate cuts. We're expecting weaker growth. So if we do get a stronger print today, that is central bank divergence. We're going to see the Reserve Bank of Australia is pausing interest rates and the Federal Reserve is cutting. So it does give us a good outlook for buys for AUD-USD. So that could be a good neutral one as well too. But I would rather take buys on AUD-USD. I think if you just want to be very selective, but these are just the ranges to focus on, right? AUD-USD, AUD-JPY, pound AUD always is a really good mover. Every single time we have labor data, pound AUD is just always a really good mover. Always give us really good opportunities for pound AUD. So you want some really good pips, quick moves. I think pound AUD is the best one to take advantage of. I know most people don't trade the Australia stock market, but you could look at it as an indicator, right? So if the Australia stock market, if we get a stronger print, that's more likely of a hawkish reaction. We're going to see a stronger currency AUD currency, we're going to see weaker equity markets. So if we get a stronger labor print, we should see the Australia stock market push lower, and a stronger AUD currency that will signal the markets is following a hawkish direction, right? That will show us that the markets is expecting a pause for the next rate decision because of this data. Now, the opposite, if we get weaker labor data, we're going to see a weaker AUD currency, and then the Australia 200, the stock market, should push higher. That would be a dovish reaction. So that will give us the confirms that the moves should actually last, all right? What we stay away from is if the data comes out as expected or mixed. So if it's as expected or mixed, don't even bother taking a trade. Just leave it alone, all right? So AUD 200, we'll look for buys if we get a higher print, and if it breaks above that 101.300 area, that would be a signal for those buys. AUDUSD, if it breaks above that 65.550 area, right, higher data, if you want to take the high risk buy, I would say wait for it to break above this structure here, above 64.400. Then you could take that high risk buy just in case. GBP AUD is going to break below that 2.600 area because AUD strength, this pair will push lower. So you could take those sells if we get a higher print. And this will just cause the AU 200 to push lower, the stock market to push lower. Now, if we get a miss, right, see a weaker labor data across the board, AUD JPY breaking up below 101.0, that will be a signal if we get a weaker print across the board. AUD USD is going to break below that 65.300 area and test this support. Then pound AUD is going to break above that 2.0900 area. That will lead to a good buy. All right. And then Australia stock market should push higher, right? So we will see the Australia stock market push higher. So we got about 10 minutes for the data to come out. So at least I just get that out the way so you guys get prepped for it. All right. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Like, let me know what questions you got. Then after this, then we could break down like gold technicals and stuff like that. Yeah, Dax, I think, yeah, I believe that too, man. I think that I feel like we are going to get a sell in the stock market. I feel like a leg is going to come. No, I'm not on sells on gold. I took buys earlier, so I'm done. Yeah, I took buys earlier. I just closed out on the buys on gold. But yeah, man, I'm expecting that leg lower in the stock market. You know, I'm definitely expecting that to happen. We just need a reason, right? So today it was interesting because we got the Fed speakers coming out talking about quantitative easing, right? So obviously they're not going to do it right away. They need a reason to actually stimulate the economy. If we could get any indicators, right, like that there's something broken in the U.S. economy, that is going to be that push lower. You know, that's going to cause equities to push lower, you know, so we just got to figure out what that indicator is going to be, right? Is it going to be the credit problem? We already know credit's a problem. People is in massive debt in the United States. So we know that's an issue, but now it's impacting the banks, right? So when the banks start acting scared, that's when there's going to be an actual problem, right? So we already heard headlines today that the lockdown is impacting GDP. So we're seeing layoffs. We're seeing indicators. So the time when the stock market actually falls is coming. It's going to come. You know, it's just, I don't think right now. Is there manipulation during Asian session? No, not really. Just low volume. It's just not really. Just low volume. That's all. And then group, we're going to come back tonight for UK's GDP data. So that's what we're going to focus on tonight for London session, UK's GDP. Let's see what else they're talking about.
Weapon. The CR continues the Republican health care crisis. The Speaker's already said he won't hold a vote to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits to reduce health care costs for Americans. So now my constituents are going to have to choose between heating their homes, feeding their families, or taking their children to the doctor.
So we got about 10 minutes.
It's a terrible deal for the American people. Americans deserve an open and transparent government that works for them. They deserve access to affordable health care, nutritious food for their families. And that's what Democrats are fighting for.
Yeah, Samuel,
I wish the President and
this can
Republicans
impact
would
the
join
rate
us
decision.
in this fight and share our
We already
priorities. I yield
expecting
back.
most likely a hold
The
for the
gentleman
next
from
one,
Connecticut
but this
reserves.
one
The gentleman
could,
from Oklahoma
a
is
higher print
recognized.
Thank you
would
very
confirm
much,
a hold.
Mr. Speaker. I yield 1 minute to my very good friend, gentleman from Missouri and member of the Appropriations Committee, Mr. Alford.
The gentleman is recognized.
Well, thank you, Chairman Cole, for your leadership. Mr. Speaker, in the words of Yogi Berra, this seems like deja vu all over again. 59 days ago, I stood at this very lectern debating the ranking member and a friend of mine over the continuing resolution to keep our government open. On September 19th, we did our work in this body, but Senate Democrats chose to hold America hostage with the Schumer shutdown. Democrats in Congress, including the minority whip, shamefully admitted they were using the misery they inflicted on the American people as leverage to achieve their leftist wish list of demands, slowly twisting the heads of the American people in a vice. Tonight, I'm relieved to say the misery of the Schumer shutdown is on our doorstep. Mr. Speaker, this package proves that when Republicans stay united and put America first, we can govern with strength, compassion, and common sense. Tonight, Mr. Speaker, tonight, we will reopen the government and liberate the Schumer hostages. And with that, I yield back.
The gentleman yields. The gentleman from Oklahoma reserves. The gentlewoman from Connecticut is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 1 minute to the gentlewoman from California, a member of the Appropriations Committee, Mrs. Torres.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in strong opposition of this deeply flawed bill because the American people deserve better. Since Trump returned to office, Republicans have created an affordability nightmare, a mass transfer of hard-earned taxpayers' dollars to billionaires. In my district alone, more than 350,000 people are facing skyrocketing health care costs or cuts to critical services. Republicans shut down the government instead of finding bipartisan solutions to keep care affordable and took a 7-week paid hiatus. During doubling health care costs for working families, cutting off food assistance right before Thanksgiving, and letting Trump spend his holidays pardoning insurrectionists, enriching billionaires,
right now, just
posing up
listening to them
dictators,
repeat the same
and
stuff over and
building
over.
himself
But
a
hopefully,
new ballroom,
hopefully we get a vote
all
today,
while
man,
taking
just to end this
food
stuff.
away
So at least we could get
from
back to
families
economic
in
data.
need. And now Senate
that's the
Republicans want to
goal.
reward themselves with a taxpayer-funded handout. Shameful, shameful, shameful. House Republicans should be here doing their jobs, not making life harder for working families. I urge a no vote.
Members are advised to direct their comments to the chair and not to engage in personalities toward the president. The gentleman from Connecticut reserves. The gentleman from Oklahoma is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 1 minute to my very good friend, distinguished gentleman from Texas and chairman of the House Budget Committee, Mr. Arrington.
The gentleman is recognized.
Where everybody at?
Mr. Speaker, the Democrats rejecting a clean CR, shutting the government down, creating all
guys,
the
we got 5
havoc,
minutes.
the pain and suffering for our fellow Americans is so obviously disingenuous. They never vote against clean CRs. Never. For 4 years under Biden, you all didn't reject one clean CR. Chuck Schumer, in 44 years, never rejected a clean CR. So, Mr. Speaker, what's it about? They say policy. They put forward a proposal, Mr. Chairman. They said it's about health care for illegals. They repealed work requirements for able-bodied adults. That's an 80-20 issue in this country. They put forward a spending bill of $1.5 trillion. That's twice the discretionary budget.
Why would a member
Mr. Chairman,
vote against the
they'd be spending more money than we've ever spent
big
outside
debate,
of COVID.
but-
That's their counter proposal. It's not only
They wanna-
disingenuous, it's
they use-
unserious.
they could use
so what's
it
it
as
about?
a
It's about
edge
politics.
to
It's
get
about
exactly what they
resisting
want,
and
you know.
fighting and undermining Donald Trump.
So
But here's the deal.
to sum
They're
it
not
up, like,
fighting and resisting Donald Trump. They're
I believe
undermining the will of the American
Republicans
people that
want
gave
one
Trump
thing,
the
Democrats
presidency.
want a certain
Yield
thing.
the gentleman an
The
additional
Republicans are
15
saying
seconds.
no,
Gentleman's recognized.
so that the Democrats is not
undermined
voting
the
to
will
pass
of
the
people
government so
who
that
overwhelmingly
until they get what they
elected
want,
President
pretty
Trump
much.
and gave him the mandate of the America First agenda. So you're not
all they're
resisting
doing is
us.
like, it's your fault. No, it's your fault.
You're
It's your
posturing
fault.
and placating the radical left. And you are holding back what the American people wanted, and that was a new direction for this country.
Yeah,
I
it's
yield
live.
back.
Members are reminded to please direct their comments only to the chair. The gentleman from Oklahoma reserves. The gentlewoman from Connecticut is recognized.
Speaker, I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from New Jersey, the distinguished ranking member of the Energy and Commerce Committee, Mr. Palone.
Look at
Gentleman
that,
is
you got
recognized.
Purple hair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want my colleagues
like
to
she's
understand
70.
that when the Affordable
That's
Care
disparate.
Act
Y'all
was
voted for her.
adopted,
Y'all voted
it was
for her.
adopted for middle-class people who could not afford health insurance. They had no other option. They had nowhere to go. You just would end up without health insurance. I have constituents coming to me now crying because their insurance is going from $500 a month to
I'm gonna look at
$1,500 a month.
AUD.
That's an increase of $1,000 a month.
gonna look at,
Who can
like,
afford that?
pound AUD
no
is a
one in
good-
the middle class.
Every
At the
time I
end
say
of
AUD
2024
JPY
last
is-
year, during a Democratic administration, the
It's a
number
tough
of
one. I'm gonna look
uninsured,
at
the
pound
number
AUD.
of insured Americans
That's what I'm gonna look
was
at,
at a
pound
record
AUD.
high of about 95%.
But I don't think it don't.
Democrats
To me, I
worked
don't
for
think it's
that.
going to be a
Then
hard.
Trump
I don't
comes
think
in,
this is going to be a hard one to
Republicans come in
choose. I
with
think you
their
could choose
big,
any
ugly
pair.
bill,
To
and
tell
they
you the
make cuts
truth,
to Medicaid,
but
cuts to
pound AUD
hospitals and nursing
usually is a
homes,
good move.
and no funding to extend the ACA tax credits. So what's going to happen? More and more people will have no health insurance. That's the bottom line. They will not have health insurance. And the Republicans don't seem to care. But I want you to know that the Democrats care and will continue to fight for you.
The gentleman yields. The gentlewoman from Connecticut reserves. The gentleman from Oklahoma is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, I yield 1 minute to the distinguished gentleman from Guam, my very good friend, Mr. Moylan.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you to my friend from Oklahoma. Mr. Speaker, Guam is home to 3,372 federal employees, more than 43,000 SNAP recipients, and over 9,000
All right, guys, we
WIC
got
recipients,
about 2 minutes.
and more than 20,000 veterans, all of whom have been impacted by this shutdown. If we continue to put politics over our country, my constituents
he
will
sound like
continue
he
to
crying.
suffer. Simply put, this gets us back on track, ensures funding for those who need it is in place, and turns the lights back on. This bill ensures that families receive the assistance they need, veterans have access to care, and our island is reimbursed for the sacrifice we made to keep federal programs running during this difficult time. I urge my colleagues to support this bill and to deliver for
Now we're going to
American
focus on the
people.
data.
The
So we
time
got a
for
minute left.
deliberation-
Yeah, it's just not really worth watching. All right, guys. So just remember, like this again, like this could be very volatile too. So just be very cautious about this print. It could be extremely volatile. All right, guys. So we got 30 seconds. I'm gonna just look at pound AUD. Just like that's the pair I'm gonna watch. But I believe like any pair should be really good. It shouldn't be a problem trading anything at this moment. And then just remember the stock market, right? Wait for breaks of structure. Wait to get a clear direction first if it's green or red, and then wait to see if we get a hawkish or a dovish reaction. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, already looking higher. All right, higher print as expected. So we should get a stronger AUD currency. Okay, so this again right now, wait for breaks of structure. Nothing broke yet. There we go. All right. So this goes along with higher inflation, which is insane, right? Because now this is going to cause the Reserve Bank of Australia to pause interest rates. And this is a surprise. Like, let me just double check because I don't think employment of 42. So the high was a 45. Yeah. So the high for employment was a 45. They changed that. But this is a high print overall, so a stronger AUD. I got in the cells on GBP AUD though. I actually got a really good feel. All right. Hold on. I'm just take partials. All right. So let's see. Yeah, you got in. All right. Cool. Yeah, good job. Yeah, like now, yeah, AUD strength that should be holding. Like, and you can see right here the Australia stock market. Like, kind of interesting to see this is not pushing higher. But, I mean, sorry, yeah, it's following. Sorry, got mixed up. Yeah, so the Australia stock market is pushing lower, so we got a hawkish reaction, right? So you can see like the AU200 lower, and then the AUD currency is pushing higher. So really good reaction, hawkish reaction that we got so far. So this is what helps give you the confirms when we can see that the stock market, right, pushing lower, and then we got the currencies is pushing higher. So this confirms that the markets is following a hawkish direction. All right, guys. So this is a really good print. And following that, like, when was it, last week, Leo? I know you remember. Can't remember. Was it 2 weeks ago? I know we had AUD CPI, and that print came out higher too. So this is definitely the reaction. My bad, guys. All right, so I'll leave it at that. Just do the snapshot. Just so I could post it for you guys so you could take notes in the chat. And then we could look at gold as well. But I'm not going to trade gold because I'm just waiting for, it's best to wait for the government to open up because we're not getting economic data. So this is a good range, but I'll just recommend just come back at, don't trade before 9 p.m. Okay. Wait until after 9 p.m. so you could get a break of structure, right? Cause you can even see equities is also consolidating too. So I don't want you guys to just like enter a trade just to enter it. Just wait for a break of structure. And plus I already took my trade for the day. So I'm pretty much done. 2 trades for the day. That's it. But, if we could see gold, right, break above 4,200, that could be an idea to take buys, but wait until after 9 p.m. Asia Pac open if you want to take advantage of some more upside, all right? But if we see anywhere before then, if they do find a way to vote, right, and end the shutdown, that's de-escalations. So it's going to be pretty tough trying to buy gold, right, when we see that the government is opening back up. Plus, the Federal Reserve is dovish, right? So we could talk about this too, just to give you guys a refresher, because we went over this yesterday, because we can see if the government shutdown ends, right, what's going to happen is economic data is going to open back up. So the Federal Reserve, they already understand that growth is coming down, labor data is coming down, inflation is coming down. So this is not going to change their bias. They're already dovish. So this is why I still want to take advantage of a weaker dollar overall when the government opens up. The problem that we have right now is the tariffs, right? Because they're still voting on it. But giving $2,000 a stimulus to every American, we got to figure out why. Are you just trying to be nice, right? Is it political? Because if the Congress ends up ending the tariffs, right? Does he want the American people to be on his side? Is he doing it for that purpose? Or it's because there's something wrong, like people is not spending, businesses are actually doing bad and they don't want to say it. And this is why they're doing stimulus, because this is inflationary, like giving out, like this is definitely inflationary, right? So let's see how that goes overall. So that's the focus, because if the market's focused on the dividends, we're going to get stronger dollar, weaker equities. Y'all see what I'm saying? So we got the shutdown ending that gives us optimism, but the tariff situation could give us a hawkish direction, but the Federal Reserve is all dovish. So you see, we got a lot of things that's happening right now. So when you're trading for the past 2-3 weeks and shit was difficult, it's because we're trading. I was telling you guys in the live call, right? like trading for the past 2 weeks, like when the government shutdown happened, right? For the past like obviously it was like 30 days, but haven't the past 2-3 weeks been like a gamble? Because this is the definition of trading a casino, because we have no direction and we don't have anything to help give us a direction. So you're just focusing on technicals only and risk sentiment. So when a headline comes out that's good or bad, markets is just reacting to that. But you're trading Forex. So the currencies, it says Trump's outside 945. All right, great. So we wait till 945 and then let's see so that's going to be, I don't think the market's going to care about that, to tell you the truth. So even if he does sign it at 945, so all right, it's right here, guys. I'll show you guys the headline. Yeah, because he's talking. Trump to sign a bill, then to shut down Wednesday night. So yeah, you saw 945, right? So if he does, I don't think the markets is going to care, to tell you the truth. My opinion, it already reacted. We already see equities pushing higher. So that's why I said it's temporary, so it's not going to really change much. I'll just let this get past us so we could see when economic data opens up. That's what's really going to be the focus. But yeah, good job for you guys that took AUD. I think that was a really good trade. Just go back to it. Yeah, I took partials already. I have a runner running at break even, so let's see what happens if I get some extra pips out of that. Yeah, but yeah, you're in gold. Just be cautious, man, because it's a range. Just wait for a break of structure. So set alerts, right? Alert at 42.10 and 41.90. Your price points are probably different, so just the market structure is the same. But if you could wait until like 9. So 9:45 once he signs it. I personally don't think the markets is gonna care, dude. To tell you the truth, I don't think they're gonna care. Like, why would? I asked the price for joining the group. It did increase. It's $147 a month. It was the Australia news that we was focusing on. I took the good trade on. Oh, you took AUD. You took both. AUD JPY and GBP AUD. That's ballsy, bro. How the hell you do that? Do you think this AUD strength will carry? Maybe, because AUD is tricky. Usually, I expect this. I expect AUD strength to hold unless we get especially with ending the shutdown, we should get optimism, So let's try to see if we could get a risk on market. So far, don't really have that. So not really clear yet, but you can see the AUD strength is holding. So hopefully, but sentiment is what's going to help otherwise. And then we're going to probably see a headline saying that market odds are in favor of a pause for the next meeting. So that's what's going to happen. You always took both too? Yeah. Yeah, good job though. Yeah, I'm glad you took. Yeah, you see pound AUD is just a great mover. I used to always trade. I used to be comfortable with trade AUD JPY, but it's you see, I wouldn't even get that much pips out of it. But pound AUD has just been a blessing every single time. Yeah, I entered at the break of structure when the news came out. You caught it, Samuel? Yeah, so this is good. It's good because now, I believe I did, I think I did do an update on. Yeah, because you can see, so the base case today, December. Oh, Anthony, you caught it too? Yeah, good job, dude. Yeah, because base case, you can see, is already on a hold, right? Unless upcoming CPI does cool. So already they're expecting a hold. So hold sticky inflation, and then we're seeing a strong labor data print. So this is what's actually going on right now. So you can see that RBA notes resilience in demand and housing pickup, right? So it reduces near-term cuts. So we got a strong labor print. So all of this includes for them to hold interest rates. So this is what I was saying, right? Now they hold November, the last meeting they did hold. So most likely they're expecting to hold again for December. So the only thing that could drop this is if we see inflation drops. The next print of inflation is lower. Yeah, my bad. All right. You can hear me now? Yeah, so this is what's going on for Australia. Just going to repeat it because inflation, the last inflation print did come out higher. So this already was expectations of a pause for this meeting. So now we got stronger labor data, right? We already see growth, labor, and housing. They're seeing resilience in all those aspects. So just right now having a stronger labor print, it just already confirms what's expected. So this just helps confirm another pause for the next rate decision that's going to be in December. So this is just add on to it. So even if today we would have got a weaker print, it probably would have never did much because inflation is so high in Australia. So the problem is it one off, right? Is it just that one high print and that's it? So we got to figure out. So the next inflation print is what's really going to matter, right? Because if the next inflation print comes in lower, then they could argue that the last month's inflation, that high print, was just temporary. Now we could start shifting to a dovish bias. But today, if labor data would have came out lower than expected, we probably would have had a spike of AUD weakness, but it would have never probably been like this. You know, we would have probably saw a spike and then a recovery. So that's the difference, you know. So that's really it, guys. I'll see you guys for. Just remember what I said about gold. Just set those alerts. Try to wait until after 9 p.m. Eastern. All right, just to get some volume in the markets. 9:45. That's when Trump is most likely going to sign the bill. Take advantage of it if that happens. But yeah, I'll see you guys for London session. We're going to focus on UK GDP data. All right, guys, have a good one.